Are you ready to learn how to create a mixed media looking background with just your stamps and dies? Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Get ready to learn some tips to make this beautiful scrapbook background that hardly takes any time to make. The layout I'm creating today will be inspired by the April Hip Kit mood board, and I'll share it on the screen for you to see. If you enjoy mood boards, you might want to consider joining the Hip Kit group on Facebook and participate in the monthly challenges. If you're new to mood boards, here's the basic concept. It's a collage of images, text, and objects meant to inspire your project. You're not required to use everything on the mood board. Just pick a few images or colors that resonate with you and begin from there. The first image that caught my attention was the retro kitchen in the upper corner. I want to use that color palette for my page, so I've selected a few patterns here to work with. For my background, I plan to use this lovely blue plaid. I've also grabbed a piece of Patience pink cardstock and a yellow pattern to match the color of that radio in the retro image. To give my page that retro feel, I'm going to use some of the items in the March embellishment kit. These chipboard frames, foam stickers, and florals are going to be perfect for my page. I will also be using this collection of rub-on transfers from the main March kit. I love the bright colors in each of these designs. As always, I encourage you to use what you have in your collection, but if you wish to replicate this page and would like to know what products I used, I have provided you with a supply list in the description below. I'm going to start with a water-washed looking background. There are many ways to create the look of this, but I have color control issues, so I'm going to share a few of my novice mixed media tips. To make my images look water-washed, I'm applying the ink to a piece of plastic packaging and I'm going to spritz it with water. Those of you who are mixed media gurus would pick this up and smush it onto the page, but I really struggle with the randomness of that. So I'm going to create the look with stamps. The March color kit consists of 4 large brushstroke images. I'm going to place this onto a stamping block and use that acetate like a stamping pad. My stamp isn't going to be totally filled with color, but there's enough here to create this beautiful washed look with that brushstroke design. Many of you might be watching this thinking of other ways to recreate the look. Like I said, you can just pick up that acetate and smush it on the paper. Or you can use a large watercolor brush and swish the paint on the page. You can also use a second generation stamping technique with these stamps and create a more solid looking image. For me, these stamps act like a safety net that gives me more control over where the color sits. Adding the images with wet ink creates the watercolor-like look that I want for my page. But the dry time's much faster, and I don't have to fuss over how my edges look with a paintbrush. You're welcome to use the full-on mixed media smushing and swishing, or the controlled stamping, or you could skip it altogether. Use whatever technique brings you joy. So I'm going to finish this off with a few splatters of ink and set this aside. While it dries, I'm going to work on the inked background for my star images. I'm using a piece of smooth, heavyweight cardstock that's better suited for mixed media because I will be adding a little water to this at the end. With some Catherine Pooler inks, I'm going to create a blended rainbow. The charming fence image with the pastel colors on that mood board was the spark for this design, and I wish to recreate that effect with my star background die. Now I'm going to speed through this really quick because it's not very complicated. I began with It's a Girl Pink, then Bellini, which was blended into lemongrass yellow. I didn't have a green color, so I mixed Oh Boy blue into the lemongrass to create that green hue. Below the blue, I brought in a little bit of 16 candles. Most of these inks are from previous Hip Kit color collections, and some are still available on the site. You can also use inks that you have in your own collection. So I've gone ahead and created this lovely rainbow pattern down the entire length of my cardstock. The brush strokes were a little rushed, but that's going to be remedied with a little water. Catherine Pooler inks are water reactive, and as you can see, this little spray of liquid smooths, softens, and blends all my colors beautifully. Like I said, I don't like to spend a ton of time on mixed media, so instead of trying to use my blending brush to create soft lines, I used an ink that would blend and soften with a little bit of water. Alright, I'm going to dry this with a heat tool and cut out my star images with the die. Then I'll show you how the page comes together. I have stitched the Patience Pink cardstock in the center of that plaid pattern. With a pair of scissors, I roughed up the edges slightly before I adhered them in place. Don't you just love the look of that stamped background? I'm happily surprised with myself. I'm going to rough up the edges of my photo frames in the same way. I selected 2 cardstock colors and a floral pattern for this. As you can see, I did set a strip of yellow pattern paper on my page. I had plans to use this as a vertical strip behind my photo, but once I started laying out the stars, it didn't fit the page very well. Instead, I chose to layer 2 tags at the top of my photo. This brought in 2 of the colors from that mood board photo, and it brightened up the page. Around my frame, I'm going to add some florals with rub-on transfers. This is another simple way to add layers to your scrapbook backgrounds. The kit comes with a popsicle stick, and that works just as well, but I tend to get a more even application with the rounded end of my bone folder. I like to secure mine with mint tape before transferring them to the project. Now, the mint tape not only secures the image in position, but it also enables me to lift the transfer paper to check the completeness of all the transferred images. If I overlooked a section of the image, I can simply lay it back down and correct that missed part. The star background was much larger than I needed, so I'm cutting it in 2 and adhering it to either side of my photo frame. I honestly thought I would use more of this, but I'm just going to keep the rest of these for another project because they have such a lovely coloring. The subtle rainbow is perfect for this page, and it's going to help my photo stand out. Above that photo, I'm going to tuck a little bit of the chipboard film frame. This is just going to bring some texture to my page. And then I decided that I wanted to bring some more florals to this design. My title's going to sit over there on the right, and I want these transfer images to pop out from behind it. As I finish adding these to my page, I would love it if you took a moment to tap that subscribe button and let me know that you're new here. If you're already a subscriber, you can let me know that you're enjoying this project by tapping the thumbs up icon or leaving me a comment below. It's always helpful for me to know which projects you're inspired by or which techniques you enjoy learning so that I can provide you with content you will enjoy. To finish off these spaces, I'm going to add a few butterflies. I like my floral clusters to have color balance. So I brought in pink on the right, and I'm adding purple up here on the left. You can also achieve balance with triangles of color, so I'm bringing in this soft orange butterfly right over here. Above the photo, I'm adding a little chipboard phrase that says happiness. I'm going to layer this over a pink checked circle and some florals. Near the top of my page, I'm going to repeat those colors. I have already adhered some stars in place, and I'm going to add some of the bright pink color with these heart transfers. Over the top of these, I'm going to layer a flag that says Sweet and Sassy, a little film reel, and some florals. The two florals that I just used were both foam stickers. To lessen the bulk behind my chipboard pieces, I carefully peeled off the foam from the back of these. For my title, I'm using the yellow transfer that says Color Me Happy. This is going to create a nice diagonal line with the yellow tag at the top. Above this, I'm placing the Smile foam sticker, and then I'll finish off my rainbow of colors with some enamel dots. I'm just going to sprinkle these in the star pattern. These sweet little dots are part of the March Hip Kit, and I love the added color they're bringing to this page. Here is that completed scrapbook page that was inspired by the April Hip Kit mood board. Let me bring that image back to the screen. Initially, I was inspired by the color palette in the kitchen scene and the retro feel that it has. But I was also drawn to the pastel colors of the wooden boards and the Be Happy sign. I decided to combine the two using the color palette for my main pieces, like the page and photo frames and tags, and I added the splash of color with the rainbow stars and dots. The florals in the mood board gave me permission to bring in a small amount of flowers with the transfer images, and I finished off the page with a bright, bold title. Earlier, I mentioned that I enjoy the look of mixed media, but I prefer to keep things simple while adding hints of it to my projects. I have discovered that there are many ways to achieve a stunning result without feeling overwhelmed. By incorporating elements like stamped images, soft reactive ink blends, and pops of color through transfers, you can create captivating layouts that give off a mixed media vibe. Remember, the key is to keep it simple and find your own unique way to infuse these techniques into your scrapbook layouts. For those of you who enjoy pinning photos to inspiration boards, I have added still shots of this project to my website for you to use. I want to thank you for joining me for another scrapbook project. If you would like to see more of my creations, you can visit my channel or follow Miss Carrie's Creations online. If you have any questions about this project or supplies listed below, feel free to leave me a comment. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.